back to the channel. Welcome back to our lovely space. If you are new or you're just joining us for the first time, my name is Tola and you are more than welcome. Please consider subscribing and joining us here on the channel. Also remember to turn on your post notifications, that way you get notified every single time I upload a video, which is at least once every week. Alright, so in today's video I have promised to give you a couple of points to identify when you feel or when you think or when might be the best time to exit healthcare if you are also struggling. So I recently shared my struggle working in healthcare and I got a ton of responses, and a lot of people have also said that they have been struggling with working in healthcare. And this is not to dissuade anyone who's currently in the line, but it's just a pointer to anyone who might be struggling, just to let you know that you are not alone. We see you, and hopefully this is able to help someone come out of a job that is not well suited for them and hopefully find something that is better suited for them and their abilities. All right, so without further ado, the very first point is when you know that it's time. All right, because I feel like a lot of us are very intuitive and we know, except you are just trying to hang in there because there's no other way, or there's nothing else, or there might not be another solution, or if you let go of that job it might be a long time till you find another one. I would say hang in there till you're able to find something that you can better apply yourself to, because I feel like people know. I feel like a lot of us know when it's time. Some of us just choose to stay there because there's no other option, or it might be a long time before you're able to get something else, before another job comes along. I fully understand and I know that. So yeah, if you feel like there is no other way, you might need to stay there because these bills will not wait for you. That's the fact. Point number 2 on when you think it might be the good time to exit healthcare is when you feel tense, so when it's time for your shift, or you start having heart palpitations when it's time for your shift. Trust me, I've been there. And Google recently reminded me of some time back in 2022 or 2023 thereabouts, where I was going for a shift. There was a particular audio that was trending at the time. I think the song was I don't really want to do the work today. I don't really want to do the work today. So that was the audio that was trending at the time, and that was how I was feeling. And at the time it takes me about 40 minutes to walk from the house to my job, and I was only about a few months in, so really early on in my healthcare journey. I was still at the care home at the time, where I hadn't got to the car, so it would take me 40 minutes to walk from the house to the workplace. And I remembered going to work that day, grumbling and complaining, and this was me sitting at home for 8 years before I got a job. But anyway, that was what I was feeling. I was feeling exhausted already, and I just wanted to exit the care home. I wanted out so bad, so bad. Heart palpitations, you're already feeling tense just when your shift is approaching. It's time to go. You know what they say about leaving when the ovation is loud, when the cheers are there. Yeah, that's not your way to go to work, because you should love doing what you do. You should love going to work. Work shouldn't be seen as something tedious. It will hamper your productivity. It will make you make mistakes because you don't want to be there and you're just like, let's just get this over and done with. But anyway, that's another way you know. Point number 3 is when you start taking shortcuts. For example, if you're on a 12-hour shift and over that 12-hour shift you're supposed to document everything. Say you're in charge of a number of patients, or you're in charge of one particular patient, you're supposed to document either the fluid chart, or you are to document how their sleeping pattern is. You are not supposed to sleep for the 12 hours except you're on your break, which is for maximum 1 hour, and you're supposed to fill that chart. If you start taking shortcuts, maybe you sleep for the duration of the shift. Say it's a night shift and you sleep, and you are just writing what you think happened, or if the patient didn't eat or take their medication and you filled it in to say, oh, they took their medication, everything went well. Meanwhile, everything did not go well. But because you want to avoid confrontation or avoid having to explain and something that happened on the shift, you just decide to patch the report and force the documentation. Once you start taking shortcuts like that, you may not have your pin to protect, but you have your integrity and you have posterity that will judge you for filling in a wrong report or for filing a wrong report. So it's something to, this is another way when you are borderline daring faith. When you start taking shortcuts like that, just know that no, the end is near, because you are going to be prone to so many errors. You are going to have to keep up with your lies, and it's something that is going to affect you in the long run. So if you notice yourself sleeping, maybe you're already taking all those shortcuts, the patient didn't eat their food, but you said, oh, they ate well, they didn't finish their fluid, add good fluids, you're already cutting short the report, you're not documenting it and giving as much detail as you can, something is wrong, and you know that the passion for the job is really not there. So there's no point hanging around and just staying and collecting the money because healthcare pays more than any other job that I can find. Once you start taking those shortcuts like that, it's extremely risky. And the funny part is you might be called to answer for that document or that report later on. I know someone who I worked with, and when he was a student, he worked in a particular care home, and after he graduated and was on his post-study, he continued with healthcare, and then he got a sponsor job in healthcare and stayed on in the UK. And this was maybe 2 or 3 years after his study, and he got called to a particular location where he was before. So he was living and working in Liverpool before, but by the time I knew him, this was in Darlington, and he had to go back to Liverpool to answer for that document. So this could be 3 or 4 years later. I know of people who get called for cases 5 years after they've documented it. So anything you are documenting, you know that you're going to give account of it. So if you're already taking shortcuts, you're falsifying documents, please be very careful, because you will be called to give account. Okay, in this country, they don't joke with documentation. They don't joke with your word is your bond, and they will hold you to it. Point number 4 is when you start snapping, like you snap at colleagues, you snap at patients. It's extremely dangerous, because you are seen as a volatile person, and anything that goes wrong, they might want to pin it on you, because you are a volcano. Your blood used to hot quickly. Any small thing, you have already and they know I don't take rubbish. Please be careful. Please be very careful. If you are not someone that can tolerate people, or your people skills need work, it might be a good time to say adieu, as in exit and go as fast as you can, because you might be seen as a temperamental person, and people like that usually have poor judgment, because you act in the spur of the moment, and it's a very terrible trait to have. So if you are someone if you've noticed it, that there's this one particular patient on the ward, nobody used to pay attention. If she comes in, that's how she's always shouting. If your passion has started to die, just gloriously exit. This is not obituary, but by yourself, with yourself, before they do it for you. Just leave when you can, while you can. Nobody will hold you to it. Nobody will tell you to stay. That is by force. If you notice that your patient is wearing thin when it comes to a particular co-worker and she doesn't used to mind her business, that's why she'll be shouting on me. Is she my boss? Any small thing will irritate you at the slightest. Please, I beg you, exit as quickly as you can, as quietly as you can, as peacefully as you can. Leave on a good note, because you don't want it to be like, because I don't really get along with that colleague, or because this particular patient triggers me. I'm not saying that this will not happen. It will happen. As a matter of fact, I think while I was still at the care home, there was a particular patient who is very provocative with what he says and how he says it. He even give you dirty looks and all of that. This was not something that he was doing voluntarily, although at some point it was already getting to the point where I felt like this man is doing this thing intentionally. But because of some of the side effects of some of the medication that he was on, he had a tendency to sexually harass staff and even some of the patients on the ward, and I found it very unsettling. At the point, I didn't like to attend to him, because he used to set me on edge, things he would say, the way he would look, and sometimes he would even reach out and want to grab him. I talked to my manager about it, and she was like, she made an excuse for him the first time I raised the issue, and then later on it progressed, and I'm like, I would like to be moved away from this ward. I don't want to stay on this floor anymore, because I cannot take it anymore. So yes, you can ask to be reassigned if a particular patient or a staff member is giving you trouble. Cite your mental health issues, cite your mental well-being, cite all of that, because they cannot force you to work where you're uncomfortable. So if you have a manager who knows what he or she is doing, report to them and have them move you away from that colleague or patient if it's something that is bothering you. So you have the right to speak up, because at the end of the day, you are responsible for your actions. So that may not necessarily be a time for you to exit. It might just be a time for you to leave that particular area, remove yourself from the situation, and get moved to a different location. So, and ever since I was taken off that floor, I'm fine. If you have any issues with any colleague or any staff member, make sure that you raise it calmly. Make sure you raise it calmly and explain yourself. Even if you feel like they are cliquey or the manager might not side with you, just make sure that you have voiced your opinion and you have explained and expressed yourself. Ask to be removed away from the ward if it is possible, and if not, you would have to cite that in your resignation letter or in your transfer letter or wherever it is you'll be moving to. But if you're in a toxic environment, please do not hang around. It is detrimental to your mental health and it can only hurt you. The last and final point might not be the final point. There might be a part 2 to this if I remember more points. But anyway, the last point for this video is when you give personal care or you perform manual handling without following the right protocol. Ladies and gentlemen, let me say this as calmly as possible. If you're giving personal care or you are performing manual handling based on that particular patient's requirements, if that person is to be hoisted, make sure you are hoisting properly. Make sure you're not cutting corners. If you're unsure of the care plan of that particular patient, please advise you read the file of that particular patient. Everything will be documented right down to the level of care, say how this person is. If you feel like the patient's care plan is outdated, say maybe the care plan says that the patient is fully continent, but you notice that this patient has become incontinent, meaning that they're passing their waste without voluntary action, make sure that you have raised this issue with your line manager or your senior carer in charge or the manager, and let someone know that this care plan needs to be updated. Do not take matters into your own hands. If this person is continent and you are giving personal care that is not meant for that person, just make sure that you know what you're doing. Make sure that you're following protocol. Follow the care plan that is documented for that particular patient. Make sure you're not cutting corners. Make sure you're performing everything to the T, because a lot of people are making a lot of errors, especially when it comes to personal care or manual handling. There are a lot of errors, and you know that these people bruise easily. So if you're not committed to the work, nobody's going to force you to stay there. There are a lot of options for you to stay miserable in one job for too long. The next video I'm going to be putting out is regarding non-bedside roles for you as a healthcare personnel. If you're looking to leave bedside nursing, you feel like it's not for you, you've endured this role for as long as you possibly can, and the funny thing is you might already be qualified to perform these roles. You might also be able to get paid almost at the same rate or slightly below, but at least you have your health, you have your time. You might just be happier doing something else and performing roles in a different environment and thriving better. At the end of the day, in this country, there is dignity in labor, and no matter what you do, so far you're able to pay your bills, so far you're able to meet up with your expenses, no one is going to look down on you. Now, if you remember any other points, please leave that in the comment section. Let's carry on this conversation there. I will respond to everyone. I do my best to respond to every single comment. Like this video if you found it helpful. It does a lot to help my analytics and also get other people to see this video. I will see you guys in the next one.